We hear take all root rot, and then we hear Bermudagrass decline. Are those the same thing, or are those different?
Well, that's a really good question. And I like to go back to the beginning. And the beginning in 1984, the disease was characterized in an experiment station bulletin in Florida, and it was called Bermudagrass decline. But the symptoms they described were circular patches of chlorotic Bermudagrass appearing late in the summer. And then in 91, Monica Elliott characterized Bermudagrass decline, the disease, and identified the causal agent as Gamenomyces graminis. Then, as she continued to work with that fungus in warm season grasses, they found the same pathogen, Gamenomyces graminis, or GGG is what we called it, infecting St. Augustine grass, causing chlorotic patches, and she called that take all root rot. And then those warm season grasses that weren't a Bermudagrass green were referred to, that disease was referred to take all root rot. And then in the early 2000s, I was doing diagnostics, and I identified these chlorotic patches in the spring of the year on Bermudagrass greens, champion ultra dwarfs, and it was loaded with the pathogen GGG, and I referred to it as GGG patch because when I was coming through the literature and learning about this disease, the decline was more found on the edge of the greens. It looked like it was worn out, and it just kind of faded. The turf faded and lost density, and it wasn't so much circular patches. Yeah. And then, let's see, about maybe 10 years later, or it was in the late 20-teens, Jim Kern started to see this patch disease on their ultra dwarf Bermuda grasses, and it was just blowing up in the Carolinas. And he called it and referred to it as take all root rot. And so we've kind of just gone back and forth and kind of just melded the name. It's a synonymous name now. And in the compendium, it's referred to as Bermudagrass decline, but it also says, this disease can also be known as take all root rot. So I think the take all root rot is probably taking hold, and it better describes the disease and what's happening to the root system than like decline. It's doesn't really have to be a pathogenic problem when we see different decline type names for diseases. So I think in the future it'll pretty much be referred to as take all root rot, or TARR as the abbreviation would be.